Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. I am Montoya. 'Tis the season. And as is tradition, Massively OP writes an article saying how bad and how horrible Star Citizen is this year. Star Citizen winning the prestigious worst MMO business model. Now, I know what you're saying before we dive into this. First of all, thank you very much once again, Bree Royce, who I believe is the editor for this wonderful piece, and we'll dig through it once again. And I see I'm still blocked. Bree, after all we've been through together, why do you do this to me? But this year, once again, worst MMO business model, which is curious. I mean, the first thing I think about when I see this is curious. What do they mean by the worst business model? In what regards? Was there bad revenue? Do the backers of this project feel cheated? What exactly are they defining this by? Because if you look at the actual numbers themselves, and surprisingly to me, because I didn't think CIG could do this, but they've cracked a new record. They are now at 114 million raised for the year. Revenues have never been higher. No doubt the F-8C, the heavy fighter being sold in October, did well. Last month, November, record-breaking November, biggest one on record yet. December's going to be kind of light, but that doesn't matter. 114 in revenue, breaking all records yet again. So from any definition of capitalism, I would say record revenues are a sign that the company is possibly doing something right. If CIG was doing something that people don't like and disagree with, then revenues would not be increasing. They would be decreasing. That's just my definition of it, but I can understand the argument that they are probably going to make there. It's about selling the ships. Star Citizen is in a very unique situation. Their way of funding themselves is unique in a sense that the game is not complete. So is it a game as a service, like a Call of Duty, for example, or is it just perpetual alpha where they keep on selling you ships and there's no real game? There's a lot of discussion to be had about that, but in my opinion, because the game is playable, even in its unfinished state right now, it is more of a game as a service. And even if it's a game as a service, keep in mind that other complete games, like a Call of Duty, will do a lot more money. In July of 2023, Call of Duty Mobile made $32 million. So when I see this is pretty much peanuts to what other games do, but still very impressive for a company in alpha like CIG is right now. But let's begin reading through this a bit. There's a lot to dig into here, and I want also to just remind you all to understand that bias is okay. When you come talk to me, my bias is positive for Star Citizen. I look at all the things I like, and I can tell you about all things I don't like. I don't like that there are wipes, because I don't like that progress isn't a thing in the game right now. I don't like that that we have servers that crash for random reasons. I don't like clipping through the surface of a planet and falling to the core of the planet as I regularly do. I don't like that you can buy armor from the store, lose it in-game, and not be able to get it back unless you do a character reset, which for the longest time wasn't working either. I can list a lot of things I don't like, but I can list a lot of things I do like. And the things I do like far outweigh the things I don't like. My bias is definitely I like Star Citizen. Now, it's okay to say I don't like Star Citizen. It's okay to say I hate Star Citizen. But I feel in the case of Massively OP and a couple of other publications, the reasoning is simply, it's black and white. It's polarized. It's saying, this is bad, end of story. I can tell you the good and bad, but many publications, like Massively OP being one of them, guilty of this. It's very childlike. You know, when you're a child and you had He-Man and Skeletor, one's the goodie, one's the baddie, and there's no in between. It's just good and bad. It's basically that. Star Citizen, bad, end of story. So let's dig in to this article saying how the worst MMO business model belongs to CIG this year, even though record revenues, backers voting with their wallets and saying, yeah, we like what you're doing right now, CIG. Here is more money from us, to the tune of 114 million for the year. Beginning with Andy McAdams, who says, Star Citizen, at some point, we're going to have to create a whole category. I'm going to pitch the biggest grift. So Andy is saying it's a grift. The whole tired old meme of Star Citizen is a scam. To be fair, in 2013, 2014, it could have been. It could have been a Kickstarter. It could have just vanished off the face of the earth and go, scam. But here we are, 10 years later, massive offices built, new record revenues, more backers than, well, let's check the numbers here. Almost 5 million backers and growing. This is one hell of a grift. At what point do you go, this is actually a legit company, and stop saying, Star Citizen, bad, end of story? Andy, that's a question to you. But let's move on to Bree, who has hurt my feelings. How am I blocked, Bree? What have I ever done to you? I'm sure she's lovely, by the way. But she'll come around eventually. Star Citizen is beyond shame and not above reproach. The thing is, Star Citizen actually got dethroned by Diablo Immortal last year. Okay. And then came rushing back in 2023. Players have given this game $650 million over 10 years for a marginally functional and unfinished alpha. That is correct. The game is marginally functional and unfinished. But even in this marginally functional and unfinished alpha, I and tens of thousands of other players always come back to it. We have other games to play. Right now, I am playing Red Dead. It was on sale recently. I picked it for $20. I'm still stuck in the snow level, by the way. I'm still in the beginning of the game because I play for an hour or two, and you know what I do? I come back to Star Citizen. Even in the current marginally functional and unfinished alpha state of the game, to me and to tens of thousands of other players, Star Citizen offers more than award-winning games like Red Dead, which I have not played through yet, but I'm hearing it's award-winning, and I'll get through it. Star Citizen has captured our attention more so than other games, and that, for a game that is in an unfinished alpha, says a lot. Now, we've seen the demo of Star Engine. We know patch 3.22 is going places. We know what's happening in the first Q1 of next year. It's going to be good. So, yeah, there's nothing wrong with what she said here, but I think this is actually more of a compliment than anything else, that Star Citizen manages to bring in this kind of money with the unfinished alpha. That's what I'm reading there. Newly raised prices in digital ships. Yes, price of ships always go up. You know, when they're sold initially, in the initial sales, that's the lowest price you'll get. It's part of the marketing strategy. But a FOMO, buy it now, this is as cheap as it's going to be. I believe the Reclaimer was originally sold for $300, then it went to $350. Now it's up at $400. Correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't checked on prices. But prices do go up. This is just part of the strategy, right? And well-documented manipulative aggression towards skeptical and low-tier backers. So we dug into this in the live stream yesterday, and it was an article by Chris Neal. Let's just refresh our memory there quickly. Yeah. Chris Neal is a big fan of the Refunds subreddit. The Refund subreddit is a group of people that are generally pretty upset about Star Citizen and the lack of progress in it, and sit there and complain about it a lot. Chris Neal is one of the people who loves that community and hangs out there a lot. He was very, very offended by this, where Disco Lando said,
"When they'll be. We don't do one questions anymore. It's things will be when they're be. When we think they're ready, and when we think they're proper, and yeah."
Put on your pearl necklace and clutch those pearls. Because Disco Lando said, this is probably someone asking, I guess, when will the banner merchant be ready? And Disco Lando saying it'll be ready when it's ready. This was very insulting to Chris Neal. He saw it as Disco Lando, who is a teddy bear. You just want to hug him all the time. He took this as a direct insult and attack upon himself. That this glare here was basically talking down to him. So that was their well-documented aggression towards skeptics, Chris Neal, and low-tier backers. I don't know how you define a low-tier backer. Is that dollar-wise, I guess? You spend $45 and you're low-tier? Yeah, I mean, Disco Lando known to be very, very aggressive towards low-tier backers, right? Just so you know, it's a classic tactic used by cons and cults, right? But also that you know, if you know Bree, she doesn't use her terms lightly. So the whole thing, Star Citizen scam, yeah, old and boring. It's a cult, yeah, as old and boring as the whole scam part. But yeah, Star Citizen is a cult, it's a scam. Please continue. And when non-exec devs started buying into the tribalism being fomented by the directors, that's when I knew it was much worse over there than I thought. How can the scam get worse? At this point, though, people still pouring money into it are getting exactly what they deserve. I agree with Bree 100%. If you back Star Citizen right now in this marginally functional unfinished alpha, you are getting exactly what you deserve. And what I'm getting is an awesome game. We don't have pyro. I mean, we saw the demo at CitizenCon. It's looking awesome. We see the server meshing being tested now. It's getting there. I hate to say it because, Star Citizen, there's a funny saying, well, it's a funny meme in Star Citizen that Squadron 42 is perpetually 2 years out. But I am willing to bet that the CitizenCon coming up, I think it's going to be Manchester maybe, they will give us a solid date for Squadron 42 sometime in 2025. Will it happen? If it doesn't happen, I will eat my BRB piece of paper I stick on my chair usually. I will eat this if we do not get a date for Squadron 42. Now I'm looking at the paper. Maybe I should have picked something healthier. If we don't get a date for that at CitizenCon. All right? Let's move on to some more insights from Carlo Lacina. But here's the issue also. Okay, Bree runs this place. She is the editor-in-chief. If your boss says this game sucks, it is the worst thing to ever happen to humanity, it gave my dog cancer, you as an employee gotta fall in line, all right? You can't go against what the boss is saying. So everyone here has to fall in line with Bree now. Let's see what they say about it. Otherwise, they get fired. Carlos says Star Citizen and any sort of mess that's play to earn or whatever blockchain is. What's the connection? Okay, there's no connection. There is no blockchaining in Star Citizen. This is such a strange argument to make. Maybe he's thinking of Star Atlas, which is a completely different game built upon Solana. But Carla goes on to say he played a blockchain version of Bless for Science. I don't even know what that is. No one's ever heard of this. No one touched this except him. And it had to be one of the most soulless games ever played. You think explicitly pay-to-win games are soulless? Well, this takes to... Oh, what? Carlo, played a very bad game that no one's ever heard of, but Star Citizen is worse than that game no one's heard of. Well, thank you. That's amazing journalism there. Thank you, Carlo. Chris Neal, the huge fan of the Refunds Reddit, says Destiny 2 was the year when Star Citizen decided to try and double down on its fleecing operation with a digital CitizenCon goodie pack. All right, so look, I'm not going to disagree with Chris Neal here. There was a digital goodies pack which had an armor set with some weapons in it, I think, which was sold for CitizenCon. I think it was $30 or so. My only criticism about the packs they're selling is that if you lose it in the game, you cannot pull it back out, but that is something which is coming soon. Otherwise, I feel that adults can do what they want with their money. If someone wants to go, I didn't buy it myself, but if someone wants to go buy a digital goodie pack because they like what they see, they can. The one and only problem with that was that if you lose it, and this, I don't know if this was clear on the website or if there was some kind of box to check that you understand this is going to happen. But if you have your fancy weapon which you bought in a goodie pack and you die and you lose it, you cannot get it back unless you do a character reset. I feel that is something which should have been mentioned for those packs. So I'm not going to disagree with Chris Neal on that completely. The perceptibility ramped up selling of concept ships and whatever the hell is yet to happen with regards to the cost of Squadron 42. Chris Neal knows exactly what's going to happen. He's pretending he doesn't know. No one follows this closer than him, very likely. But we know it's going to have a price range. So right, the Squadron 42 was pulled out of the store, very likely, and I predict it will probably go for sale around 65, 70, If they really want to push the boundary on it, CIG may try $80 for Squadron 42, but that game better be polished as hell. If they try push an $80 price tag on Squadron 42, it better be like game of the decade with 0 bugs. That's how I think it should go through. But hey, of the 3 planets are pyro playable, but woohoo. Okay, now, I mean, he knows what's up with this game. Nobody follows it closer than him, very likely. But again, it's the whole He-Man and Skeletor. One good, one bad, nothing in between. Everything Star Citizen bad, end of story. That's how he operates and what we've come to expect from him every single year. Elliot, let's see. Star Citizen, it's always Star Citizen because we cannot argue with the boss. There's no way in hell anyone can go against Bree because they will get fired. Please let this be a kleptocratic non-game. Just crash and burn so we can stop talking about it. Just go away, Star Citizen. Even though your revenues are higher than ever before, even though backers are flooding this game like never before, even though everything is firing at full speed there, I hope it dies. I hope it dies because Star Citizen bad. Possible scam and cult. The cult scam of Star Citizen must die. In fact, Elliot, next year, just say cult scam, Star Citizen bad. I've saved you the effort of thinking what to write next year. Justin, what have you got? Charging a lot for early access. We can include a lot of titles here, like Wayfinder, but I'm just saying in general, I'm tired of seeing all these studios charge a full box price for an alpha or beta experience. I don't disagree. I'm right. I don't think these studios should charge money for less than adequate alpha or beta experiences. But also buyer beware and understand what you're getting into. When it comes to Star Citizen, when a new person arrives in my Discord and asks, should I back this game? What do you think? We tell them, go watch a streamer. There are several 10, 20, 30 people streaming right now. Go watch a stream. And if what you see is interesting to you, then go buy yourself a starter pack. I believe right now they're on sale for $40. Enjoy. It may not be for you. You may love it. You may hate it. Go check out what people are doing. That's it. No one's forcing you to buy an alpha experience which you don't know what will be about. Star Citizen is very clear what this is experience about. You don't have to listen to them. You can go watch people play the game and see what they do and what's happening to them before you make a decision. If you make the decision and it's the wrong one, you're an adult. That's on you. It's becoming way too normalized and is leading to all sorts of troubling expectations and bad results. I don't disagree. That is true. MJ says, Neverwinter. But also, Star Citizen a lifetime achievement for this, so it's almost pointless to make any other votes. But for this year, I'm shaking my finger at Neverwinter. Oh, okay. So MJ, unfortunately, is going to be fired from this position very soon. And Tyler Edwards playing it safe. Star Citizen, as always, he is safe for this next year. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, we conclude our massively OP article for this year. I'm looking forward to next year also. But just to finish off, and let's be very clear about this, the bias is clear. Massively OP hates Star Citizen. Star Citizen is a scam. It is a cult. Everything bad is Star Citizen. And the business model is obviously the worst in the world because in reverse capitalism, this is the worst possible thing that can ever happen. So until next year, thank you very much. If you enjoyed my content, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe. Those of you who've been following me on my live streams on Twitch and YouTube, thank you very much. You've been awesome. I will catch you in the next one.